Hi, this is Doug Hines, the CEO of PathWrangler. Welcome to our training video. In this video, we're going to teach you how to build your first itinerary. In a previous example of getting started, we created a trip template. So the first thing we're going to do working from the trip template is we're going to create an itinerary from here. So the first thing you'll do is you're logged in and you come to the dashboard. You'll go and select My Templates. So we're already here. And what we're going to do is go back into the Skeleton Coast trip, and we're going to build a template from here from scratch. So the first thing you'll do as you click the thing, you'll be brought into the trip, and you'll see this green box up here called the Organizer Toolbox. Anytime you do any type of editing, management, or building, it's going to be done through this Organizer Toolbox. So in this case, we want to build an itinerary. So we're going to click the Organizer Toolbox, and we're going to go in and build an itinerary. So since we don't have one, first thing we're going to do is create it. Now, this is the beginning of showing you how the theory of why we built this section to be the way, or the way we built the itinerary and our theory behind it. So the way that we looked at building an itinerary is it's sort of like Legos. We all played with Legos as a kid, and there's, the base layer that you would have, and then you would use little building blocks to build whatever it is that you were building, whether it be a city or a building or something like that. So in the case of an itinerary, we believe that it's not adventure trips and outdoor trips aren't things to be micromanaged. But there's a lot of information to be communicated, and you want to get really deep, and you want to get very specific about items you want to have in itinerary. So this is a dynamic itinerary, and what we have here, we're starting up here with is this segment, and the segment defaults. There's one that's already built for you, but there's also one here that I just added, and I can add 2, 3 of these. Now, what I'm going to do here is actually label each of these, and these are totally self-defined. You can label them any way you want, but these are going to be various days. So I'm going to call this day 1, and then I'm going to call the second one day 2, and I'll call the third one day 3 for this example. Now, you can define these any way you want. You can call one segment day 1 through 5, or you can use it as morning or afternoon. It's totally up to you. It's however you think it's best to present your itinerary. So on the left here is our palette, and these are actually the Legos that are going to go into each segment. So these are called elements. Now there's 4 different types of elements. The first one we're going to show you here on day 1, typically the first thing you do is the big issue that you have is getting everybody to one point at one time. So we're going to use the rally point. All we have to do is click and drag this sucker over, and we're going to say that this is going to be the Windhoek Airport. And then we can put a label in here, or we can put an address, but you're not required. You have to put in an address for each of these. And in the detail here, we're going to say must arrive no later than 10 a.m. It's usually some kind of constraint. So it's trying to get everybody into one place at one time. Now, the next part here for this example is a transfer from the airport to the hotel. So in this case, it's often a question that a lot of customers will have is, how are we going to get from the airport to the hotel? So you can say, Windhoek Airport to hotel. I'm just going to say that name hotel, and we'll say we will have a driver waiting for you. So now we have 2 elements here. Now the next thing we're going to do is after someone arrives at the hotel, there's going to be a meeting for all the people that are going on this trip, a quick dinner. So we're going to say dinner meeting. And that's an activity, so we're going to use this as an activity. The other thing is here with these things in the activities is that you can have pinpoints. These pinpoints are any locations on a map. So it could be a landmark, it could be an address, it could be anything. You can put as many pinpoints in a activity as you want, depending on what it is. In this case, there's only one, so we're going to say hotel. So if you're going to be doing something like later on, we're going to go climbing, let's say. You can have many pinpoints here that are on a map. You can say, first pitch could be the, north face, some cliff, whatever. You can put whatever types of pinpoints that are in there. They're very helpful for people to visualize. Eventually, there will be maps that will be associated with all these pinpoints from and tos and rally point locations. So as you do that, you'll be able to use these and visualize these on a map. The thing about the itinerary here is we made this very dynamic. So you might be able to rearrange some things. So let's say that the dinner meeting was something that's going to happen later. So as you see the click and drag, you can drag these around and reorder them as you want. And you can also reorder segments too. So if we want to switch day 2 to day from where day 1 is, we can do that and relabel them. It's however you want to do it. It makes things easy. It makes text editing easy. And then the last thing here is notes. This is really any kind of notes that fit in that don't really correspond directly to an activity, a transportation, or rally point. These are ways of communicating further information to your clients or giving them some context around what activities, transportation, or rally point that doesn't quite fit in the description field. So at each point here, this is the one element, or this is the one part of the application where you have to save your work as you go along. So saving your work goes along makes it faster and makes the performance easier on our end. So after you've saved your work, let's say that we're going to be done with this itinerary and we're going to finish off. Once you're done with this, you can go back in and you can see your progress. You don't have to finish the itinerary as you save and leave. Your work is always saved. If you want to come back in later on and finish up an itinerary, you just go back in through the organizer toolbox and then you edit itinerary and you can go back in here and edit as you need to. That concludes our beginning tutorial on how to create an itinerary.